Hello on the Rockers. On this week's episode, holiday baking and cookie decorating tips, some behind-the-scenes stories from the Food Network set, and holiday chisme with Christmas Cookie Challenge winner Kellen Whaley and my guest co-host, Spring Baking Championship finalist. Look at my English. Yes, I can speak English. Natalie Soto is here with me, your favorite host with the sassy most. Raise a glass and let the drinks begin.
Thank you for being
Boulevard.
Life is a banquet, and most poor suckers are starving to death.
I'd like to propose a toast.
This is On the Rocks with Alexander, where I drink with your favorite celebrities as we talk about fashion, entertainment, pop culture, reality TV, and, well, that's about it. So pop a cork, lean back, and raise a glass to On the Rocks.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Listen to that applause, the applause. Buttons and bows and pantyhose on the Rocks podcast, the place where we're too glam to give a damn. Okay, so I MC a lot of gigs, and it's been Christmas time, and so I had this big gig, and I thought, I'm going to be so emo and goth, and I'm going to be so Christmassy at the same time. So I bought this Santa hat, but it was black and white, so emo, so fashionable. Now, I'm not ashamed to admit I wear some bronzer, some cover-up for my events so I can look fabulous. That's what they pay for, right? The hat was so goddamn hot. During the evening, I didn't realize. I was sweating. It was dripping off my face, off my eyelashes, off my eyebrows. And I didn't realize how bad it was until the professional pictures came out the next few days from this big event. I looked ridiculous. I had streaks of color coming down and had dripped onto my collar, my bow tie. I looked like a mess. My hair was matted. I had one eye closed with my bronzer in my eyelash. I literally looked like the Grinch who stole my look. Girl, it was not cute. But I would tell you it keeps you humble. Because here I thought, oh God, I'm a star. Not so much. I wasn't even a hot mess. I was a lukewarm mess. Anyway, like us on Twitter and Instagram at On The Rocks On Air, and on Facebook, On The Rocks Radio Show. Send me an email. Book me for a wedding, funeral, quinceañera, bris. I don't care. I will show up. Info at ontherocksradioshow.com. The show is presented by Straw Hut Media. You can watch and or listen to now our almost 300 episodes at ontherocksradioshow.com. You can also watch us on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, on the Outlet.tv app, Facebook Watch, streaming with pride on SVTV, and on Channel 31 on the East Coast during the week. Hello, East Coast! The show is brought to you by FanDaddies.com, bringing you the sassiest and classiest clacking fans and hats for prides, EDM parties, sassy selfies, and even sci-fi nerds. Head to FanDaddies.com. Also, I know you love listening to me as a podcast or watching me as a podcast, but turn on your FM. You can now catch my deep, sultry voice on Channel Q FM twice a day in over 38 states with my sassy news bites representing GED Magazine and Metrosource Magazine. Pucker up, Buttercup. Check your local FM listings for Channel Q. All right, let's get the show. Oh, before I start the show, I want to send a special message to my mom. Hi, Mom. My mom, unfortunately, we know she's been battling cancer, and she won that, but her health is still up and down. She's actually in the hospital this week. So wherever you're at, whatever, send a good thought to my mom, Mama Rose. She's done the show a couple of times. Not sure if she's going to be home for Christmas. So send her good thoughts. Send us good thoughts because, I love you, Mom. If I don't say that, she'll send me texts. Even from, ICU, she'll be like, you didn't say my name. All right, I am so excited to welcome my guest co-host today. Pastry chef Natalie Soto has been honing her craft for the last 25 years. She discovered her passion for food in high school and would frequently bake sweets for her friends. While attending culinary school, she started her career at the St Regis Hotel and Resort in Dana Point, California, near which I grew up, by the way. And the St Regis is the bomb. It's like Disneyland for rich people. That's the only way I can describe it. It was there that she realized she wanted to focus on the sweeter side of food and transferred into the pastry kitchen. A whole new world of possibilities was then open to her, and she was hooked. It was there that she learned how to make all sorts of sweet indulgences, including chocolate sculptures, tarts, petit fours, and most importantly, cakes. Cakes for days. Her company, Sweet as Love, was soon born, and she's been delighting clients ever since. Her passion and talent is designing and creating stylish, unique, and contemporary cakes. each cake is handcrafted, and I know because after her little performance on Food Network, I was like, sweetastlove.com, and I got my own cake. Using the finest ingredients to ensure a quality product, her guests are always awed by her creation, and she can make just about everything. I think we showed that Cheeto cake. Flaming hot Cheeto cake? Like, that is something in its own. She was seen on Food Network's Spring Baking Championship, where she made it all the way to the end during the finals. She quickly became a fan favorite, one of my favorites. There she is. She's a superstar. Please welcome Natalie Soto.
Thank you. I love the pictures that you put
Oh,
up
girl.
of me.
I was like, yes, we need that one and that one and that one. So I just have to say, like, you know, we saw you on Food Network, and you were like, oh, very cute with your ice cream earrings and, like, your brand. And then I met you when you made a cake for my mom, actually, which was, like, a dream come true. And it was a total surprise. I was like, hey, we're coming here. And she was like, blah, 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 blah. And then to see, and I don't know if this is a result of being on TV, but now, like, with the long locks and, like, the blonde, we got Miss Hollywood up in here.
Yeah. My husband was like, yeah, it's time for an upgrade, babe. Let's get your hair looking good. Like, you deserve it. You've been working so hard on your cakes, and you should do something really nice for yourself. So I said, you know what? Damn it, you're right. I want some blonde in my hair.
I think Dree has, like, some competition now because, you know, she has her long hair, her long red hair. Now we got a blonde Latina. Hey, where's, like, the tamale baking championship, right?
Well, right. I mean, you should have been there last Saturday. Me and my family threw down last Saturday.
Well, I wasn't invited. But, so a small world to our listeners. My mom watches every Food Network iteration, even though she can't even make toast. Like, our holiday is like calling Postmates. But she watches every show, and so when you showed up, you were her favorite, like, right away because of your personality and what you were doing, and, like, your creations definitely had your brand. But she was like, Soto from Orange County. I wonder if it's the same Soto. So, small world. My mom used to friendly date your father-in-law. When they were kids, when they were younger, at the Mission, San Juan Capistrano. How weird is that?
Yeah. I had asked him about it, and
I want to hear this because I haven't heard. My mom was a pill.
I mean, you know, I asked him about it, and my mother-in-law was there in the room too, and she was like, "What? Yes, tell us the story."
I guess they would have, like, coffee and pastries in the mornings.
Yeah, I think it was very innocent. You know, I would say. My father-in-law is a very reserved man, so he didn't have too much to say about it.
But they were young.
You know, so yeah. But I could see that there was definitely a remembrance there.
Well, you know, I was born out of wedlock, so we could be related.
We might be related.
Oh, my God, can you imagine? But I want to talk about, you filmed the Spring Baking Championship literally right in the middle of COVID. Not only did you have those challenges, but you had just given birth 3 months prior.
Yeah. So I had, my Ollie was 3 months old, and I mean, Food Network called, and I was like, oh, babe, can I please go do this? I want to go do this. And he was like, absolutely. Like, I'm not going to stop you from going. But I will say, the night leaving, I stood there in the driveway holding Oliver, and I was like, forget it. I don't want to do it. Like, I don't want to. I was like sobbing and crying, and my husband had to like pull my son off of me, you know, I mean, take him back. And he was just like, go, like, you need to leave or else you won't go, you know?
You know, that is a really tough choice. And those in the entertainment, we have these difficult choices. I mean, you're talking about having a kid, and I'm like giving up my cocktail. Like, that's my difficult choice, like Sophie's choice, right? But it must have been this dilemma of go on, you know, global television,
right?
But then 3 months, you know, that's like the formative like months, and that's where you're bonding. But to have a partner that was so positive and so supportive, I mean, but what a choice to make.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there was a very, very strong chance right that I was just like, forget it, like it doesn't matter, like I cannot leave Oliver. And but my husband was just like, we're gonna be fine, you know, like his parents and my parents came and they rotated in and out for, you know, I was gone for 29 days. So they all rotated in and out to help Richard with Oliver, and it worked out for the very, very best.
That first week must have been pretty jarring, though, because not only are you away from your family during COVID, so that there's that loneliness and isolation,
Yeah.
but then being on your first reality show and then being pushed to the limit every single day.
Yeah, yeah.
What was that first week like?
Well, actually, the first week was not too bad. We had 4 days of basically blackout days, where it was just they wanted us to quarantine.
You were just drinking with Nancy?
So
In my mind, Nancy's going to all of the hotel rooms. She's like, hey, who's going to put rum in their recipes?
yeah, I mean, literally, once I got over, the shock of being away from my family, and then checked into this fantastic room,
Terra.
kingside, Terranea.
If you haven't been to
Terranea.
Terranea in Southern California, I'm telling you, it is the resort
Oh yeah. No.
location. Oh, my God.
I mean, you're right on the water. You're up on the cliff, and I mean, I had a great room all to myself, king size bed, and then just during the day, you taking my walks right along the coast, and so then I was just like, oh yeah, okay, I'm okay, calling Rich, are you okay? Is everything okay? He's like, I'm struggling. And I'm like, oh, that sounds terrible, babe. All right, well, I'm gonna let you go.
It's my massage. I'm going to have drinks with Nancy.
Yeah.
And Duff's going to come by.
Yeah, really. Yeah, no, I mean, but yeah, definitely it was the most stressful thing that I have ever done in my life, being on the show. I mean, sitting up in bed in the very middle of the night, I never do that. I mean, just 100% just sitting straight up in bed and just being like, chocolate ganache is, I need whatever the grams were and stuff like that, and thinking of recipes, and I'm like, oh my God, not being able to turn my brain off to fall asleep.
And you're pushed, like I said, you're pushed to the limit day after day after day.
Yeah.
And then you made it all the way to the finals, and the final three. And I have to tell you, as an audience member, my mom was watching this, and when I come visit, our time is to bond over watching whatever she's into, right?
Sure.
And she loves all these shows. So then I get into it, and the audience really goes on the journey with you all. I think Food Network does such a great job, and we're going to talk to Kellen about this as well, does such a great job of building the personality that we're really rooting for you, but we feel like we're friends with you at the same time.
Yeah.
And then so to see you, Natalie, go through the whole process, to the final three, it was really exciting. But I can imagine how that kind of, you come in and you have all this energy, and then it's like, okay, next challenge, next day. God, was I good enough? Was I not good enough? And then it's in your mind.
Yeah.
It's almost, I would think, more of a breath of fresh air to not make it to the finals. Because you're like, you know what? I had fun. I got my exposure. My fans love me. Now I can just relax.
Right.
But then it's like you work so hard for the whole season of the show.
Yeah.
And then you have this mega day. I have to, when they announced the winner, what was your first reaction? Be honest.
Well, I mean, obvious disappoint, can I cuss?
Yeah, you can do whatever you want. We have Food Network stars. You can do whatever you want.
I mean, you want it. You want it so bad. You want it so bad, and then the board gets turned around, and it's not mine at the very top, and so of course I'm just like, fuck, but then, I mean, I just did not want to go home the night before that. That was, for me and myself, I was just like, if I could just make it to the very end, I just want to be on the finale. I just want to be on the finale. That's it. I'll win. That's me winning right there.
Yeah.
And, so, but I already knew in my mind that if I could make it to the finale, if I could just make it, past number 5, that I'm going to be good. My business is going to be good. There's no bad for this, So, I mean, I had a great time. I really did. If I could do it all over again, I would do it all over again.
Well, we know that Food Network likes to bring fan favorites back. In fact, we're going to talk to one of them. Yay! It's 3 times in a few years. Calm down, girl. But I'm so thankful to have been able to meet you and to have ordered one of your amazing cakes, by the way, and then to be able to hang out. And I happen to be dog watching my mom's dog in Orange County, where you're at. Okay. So I just tell our listeners, Natalie's like, hey, we should go for a walk.
like walking.
Girl, does it look like I do cardio? I was like, no, we're not going to go for a walk. We're going to go for a drink, girl.
Hey, drinks are great too. I love to drink too.
I have one other little cheese may, and then we're gonna talk to our man of the hour. But working at a place like St Regis, like it literally is an amazing like palace resort in South OC. It really is for the rich of the rich. We know all the richies come there. Was there ever a conflict of like, here's the dessert that we think that you should make for this big event versus for what you wanted to do creatively? Because we know the top at some of these places are not the most creative people. They're just like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. How did you deal with that kind of dichotomy?
I mean, back then though, I was a cook, like, so I was taking orders from the top. And when I was at St, I loved it. I loved it because everything was from scratch. What you name it, it was from scratch. So, I mean, I got to work with chocolate and make chocolate sculptures. I got to make the ice cream. So, I honestly was at the playground every day. Like, I had such a great time, and my chefs, were the top. Like, honestly, like Stefan Treyon, like he was one of the judges on Sugar Rush. Nathaniel Reed, he's got his own place now in Missouri. Like, these men like just were so capable and were so kind. You meet so many chefs that are dicks, and they really wanted to teach.
It's funny, reality TV is good and harmful towards your industry, I believe, because, we love the Gordon Ramsays, we love the sassy judging, but in real life, I think that this has bled down. It's like, we should be supporting people in our industry, but from reality, we're like, let's be sassy, not supportive.
Right.
Like
right.
I said, there could be some ticks.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel, being a woman in the industry, that was an obstacle too?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially working there, it's a very French-based, kitchen, and like I said, I was a cook, so I wasn't at the top. I wasn't even management or anything like that. So I took orders and I had a great time. But yeah, definitely you can feel there's a boys' club, but I mean, it was a very, very great foundation for me.
Well, it kind of built your skin up to be on a baking championship.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, things that I was doing on the baking championship were things that honestly I had learned from being at St. Regis, or even recipes that I thought, wow, this one might be really great for this or something, like, yeah, it definitely gave me a fantastic foundation to be kind of like where I'm at now,
I think you should just drive by and like roll down the window, flip them off, with like a picture of you on the Food Network and be like, hey girl.
No, and what actually is really cool is last week I delivered a wedding cake and I delivered it there.
Oh,
yeah.
I love that.
No, I delivered it there, and there were so many familiar faces that I remember, from being back there, and people like, as I'm walking past, I can see that they're like looking at me, and I'm like waving, like, hey, like, hi. And I mean, it was cool, like, to be back, and like to walk those halls. And I mean, I was like, wow, man, like full circle. Like, now I'm here, like delivering the wedding cake for this like 400 plus wedding, and I'm like, this is great. I love it.
Well, and a lot of our audience are in the entertainment business, and so like this is the message: is you keep at it, no matter what obstacles, you turn them into lessons.
Yeah,
and then you own it.
Yeah.
Then you get on Food Network, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I can't wait for our walk.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Walk, girl, please. All right, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we have Food Network's Cookie Challenge winner, Kellen Whaley, by the way. He's so cute, by the way, just so you stay tuned when we come back. Copied that time. Yes, and we're back. Okay. Kellen Whaley started baking on a whim in college. What started as a hobby has turned into a full-fledged custom cookie business, Whaley Sweet, by the way, in Kansas City, Missouri. He's a 2-time Food Network champion, appearing on Cookie Wars in 2019 with my friend Jonathan Bennett, and Christmas Cookie Challenge in 2018, and was brought back for All Stars in 2021. You'll have to watch the episodes to find out which ones won, but I have such a big mouth and I have vodka, so I'm probably going to spill it. But please watch. He's a self-taught home baker. He enjoys making treats for friends, family, and the Kansas City, Missouri community. Lucky community, by the way. When he's not in the kitchen, he enjoys exploring local restaurants and bars, taking in a movie, or going on walks. There we go with this walks again. This is how you guys stay
People
thin
like to walk.
by all these like making amazing things that you guys eat, and then you stay thin. It's by going on these goddamn walks. With his boyfriend Taylor. Yes, sorry boys and girls, because I did get messages before he came on. He's like, is he single? Walks with his boyfriend Taylor. It's just everybody here. And his dog Olive. Woof. Please welcome Kellen Whaley.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello. Girl, why is Food Network obsessed with you? 3 shows in the span of a few years.
You know, they like what they like, and apparently that's me. I don't know. Good question.
You're like, aw, shucks. But I have to tell you,
Yeah, I know, right?
Natalie and I were talking about this. It's like, being on reality TV, you have to have a certain spark. You have to have a certain showmanship. And that is definitely part of the competition as well. Did you feel like you had to be on once the camera started rolling?
Kind of. I mean, in the moment, you're not really worried about that. You're just kind of focused on the baking, which is, the whole reason you're there. You kind of are. You're just so like scatterbrained about I don't want to completely make a fool of myself on TV. So you're really not worried about like putting on some sort of camera presence. And I just feel like I'm kind of, I'm the way I am in general. So I think that's kind of one of my like secret weapons. I don't have to worry about that. It just kind of comes out. So that way I can just focus on, the cookies or whatever I'm baking at the time. And, everything else is just kind of easy.
Well, and here's a little fun fact. Kellen started baking in college. There was a show called Pushing Daisies, which was a remarkable show. I think it was a little ahead of its time. It was very dark, but it was about a baker who baked pies, and it would bring people back from the dead. But it had every amazing, like Kristen Chenoweth. I mean, it was so. Ellen Green was in it. So, Kellen, I have to tell you, I was at the premiere, and they passed out little mini pies, and they promised decorated cookies at the end of the screening. And so the cookies never came. My friend got really wasted. And he's from the South. He's like, what about the cookies? He went to the ushers. He went to the producer. He went to, God, who was the big creator? Brian Fuller, I think.
Oh, Brian Fuller.
Yeah. He's like, what about the cookies? It's like, no, girl, we just saw this amazing dish. What about the cookies? I thought you would find that very interesting. But that kind of inspired you, right?
Yeah. Oh, very much. Pies were the first thing that I really learned to bake. The first pie I actually made was a huge failure. Reading is very important. So I grabbed the first spice from the cabinet with a C, thinking it was cinnamon, and it was actually cumin. It was a very, very unappetizing pie. But, the fundamentals were there. The crust was good, and the filling, while it didn't taste great, it looked okay. I wasn't completely embarrassed to where I would never bake again. So I just kept at it and, learned to read better, or at least pay closer attention. Here we are.
Now, I have to tell you, when I was in college, I was getting wasted and not showing up to class. And here you are working on your baking craft. What did your, friends say? How did that fit into your college life?
Oh, I mean, it was kind of just like I was a little more popular that way. People would come to me because they wanted something tasty.
They want...
So, Well,
I have so many jokes to that, but, we'll leave it at that.
Let's hear it.
I can't tell you, all of my Instagram messages were kind of inappropriate. I'm like, does anybody want to talk about his cookies?
I'm sure they do want to talk about my cookies.
What about the cookies?
Yeah.
We were promised cookies, damn it.
But, in college, I was dealing with this, masculine versus feminine because I was coming out during college. I came out very late. And then baking is considered, oh, well, that's super gay, which is so weird because even if you look at the Food Network, we have these masculine straight guys that have their own shows like Gordon Ramsay, Guy Fieri, and there's this masculine version of what's in the kitchen. And then we think about bakers. And I know that you were first kind of cast on the show because there's not a lot of men in the cookie decorating field.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the whole point of me being on the show. I was contacted by one of the casting producers because they were having trouble finding male applicants, and she saw what I had put on my Instagram page, and she liked what she saw, and then I just kind of went through the whole motion of filling out applications and doing the Skype interviews, and just kind of went from there. But yeah, I mean, it's a very female dominated industry, the cookie world, but it's that's I don't think that really matters as much when it comes to just like, as long as you're putting out a good product, and everyone's super nice. The cookie community, for being so small, is actually quite large. I've learned in Kansas City especially, it's a lot bigger than I originally thought it would ever be. There's so many people in this small community, in my like literal community, who do decorated cookies like this, and it's really cool to lean on each other and learn from each other in that way. So yeah, it's really fun.
And from watching all of these shows on Food Network, and I would love your input, Natalie, as well. When you decorate a cake or when you decorate a cookie, it's such a specific craft. You could make a recipe like, okay, we're having the best French toast of the world, whatever, but it's still very like, you put it together. But when you decorate something, it is so exact. To me, it's almost, you have a singer that's able to cheat sometimes during performances or able to add nuances or change the key. But when you're playing an instrument, it's literally black and white, like what you see. And when I think of decorating, I think it's so precise, like playing an instrument. There's a lot of pressure every time that you decide to put a decoration on. What would you say is your favorite part of your craft?
I particularly like it when my guests say, have at it. Like, I want you to do it. Like, I 100% trust you. And I think that that's fantastic. I love it. If you want the best out of your artist, whether it's cookie or cake or whatever it is, give them free reign, because they definitely have some techniques that they've been wanting to try out, and now you've given them that opportunity. And I feel like that some of the things that I've put out when they have given me that, those are the ones like those, oh damn, now that's a cake, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what I think. I find that cookies are a lot harder for myself
because it's so definite. It's literally right what you have in your hand, and you are looking at every nook and cranny. To me, that's too much pressure.
Your stuff is good. Like, your stuff
is
good.
We know your stuff is good. I love how you said how it started, and it was your whale Santa hat cookie from the actual competition, and then it was like your updated. It was so cute. But like,
I mean, well, Natalie, you say like the cookie, like I can't do cakes. Cakes are not my jam. I know for sure. Like, if somebody's like, "Oh, can you make a cake?" I'm like, "No." I will send you to somebody who is far more talented and skilled in that field than I am, because I just feel like I'm too impatient. It's weird. I'm not patient in general, but you have to have a certain level of patience to do what we do when it comes to doing these fine details and sitting down for hours on end and just making sure everything is like meticulously done. And when it comes to cakes, like as soon as it's out of the oven, I'm ready to start decorating. And I know you have to there's definite like wait time. You have to let it chill. You have to let it, cool down. And I'm like, no, I want to do it. And then I start and it messes up and I get frustrated, and it's just like, no, I can't do it. But for some reason, cookies, it's a completely different medium. Maybe it's just because it's like flat, and I'm like, all right, there's a lot less room for me to mess up, and a lot less, everything's just like right there, and I can just kind of, it's like drawing almost, or like coloring. And I really enjoyed doing that as a kid, so it kind of like translates to now.
Oh, so that's where it kind of started, was that kind of artistic flair.
A little bit.
But I have to tell you, it's like, I used to be an actor, and then to do 8 shows of the same show was like, like my personality is like, what's next, right? I was not the best at that. And so when you have a cookie, you do one amazing cookie, but then you're hired to make 100 cookies or whatever. And so it's recreating that art, cookie after cookie after cookie. How do you keep that momentum and that creativity going? Because I can imagine on your 40th cookie, you're like,
I mean, fortunately, everybody who asks me to make cookies for them, I haven't really had to duplicate too many sets of the same thing. If somebody has a birthday, every birthday is different, so it kind of gives a little variety each time. And even if there is kind of something similar, if someone wants me to make oh, I saw your Schitt's Creek cookies online. Can you make those for me?
Which
That
we have
kinda
a
gives
picture
me,
of, by the way, because they're so
good.
popular.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Good.
so,
There we
but
go.
if somebody wants me to make those, I'll do a few of those, but then I can, pull from different ones that I didn't do that. They kind of just like, expand it a little bit. And it's just kind of like changing it up so it's not so rote and, rinse and repeat every time, because that could get a little boring after a while. But, overall, it's just, the creative process, and it's fun regardless if I'm doing the same thing or if I'm doing different things.
Well, and I did get messages for both of you about the creative process from other bakers or from other artists. Are you listening to music during it? Do you need like your space cleared from all outside distraction? Are you like very serious, like I want to paint you? Or is it just like got to do this today and whatever's happening in the house is happening? Because you both have, partners that are with you. Like, what's the space like?
Well, I mean, for myself, Oliver's there. So, I mean, I'll get Oliver set up and, and he'll be happy. And then, I mean, I just have to go. Like, I just have to get it done. And even, I'll stop and go play with him and do some stuff and then try and come back to it. And I'm just very, very organized as far as like a time schedule goes. If I can at least hit a few check marks, before an allotted time, I feel good. But definitely I'm a clean as you go kind of person. So I have to keep my kitchen like clean. I can't wait till the very end of it. And I feel like sometimes that makes me take like even longer. You know what I'm saying?
But like, do you have the routine where you like have to have this music list playing?
Oh. I mean, definitely I have Spotify on all day long. Yeah, Spotify. And
What's your go-to? Is it like Baker Championship playlist?
No, generally kind of in the morning time. I feel like I start off with like more Beach Boys, kind of get the morning kind of going, and then Oliver goes down for his nap, and then it comes out with more like gangster rap, and then it's time to like really hustle and like go fast or like
These beautiful, delicate creations are the gangster rap.
Yeah, because it's just hype music. It's just like, okay, here we go, boom, 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 and it just makes you go fast.
Kellen, are you playing like a certain like what's your ritual?
I am a proponent for watching Great British Baking Show. That is like my go-to
That's
decorating
everybody's.
Distraction. It's something that I've seen so many times, so I don't really have to focus on watching it. It's just it's such like a nice positive show just to have on. So it's very just like relaxing and calming, while I can like crank out like 5 dozen cookies. And it's like about the last one, just like I'm so glad this is done. But I have like Paul and Mary like talking to me, so it's all good.
We want to hear about the reality of what auditioning for a Food Network show is actually like. It's not like they reach out to you on your social media and then it's just like, okay, you're showing up. No, there's like a process. What is the process?
Natalie?
Okay. Well, for myself, actually, they did. 2 years in a row, they reached out to me on Instagram. And, in the first year, I said, oh, no, that seems too terrifying to do.
Really? You said no?
Yeah. I was just like, no. I don't want to get up there and look like a fool. So I didn't do it. And then the second year rolled around, and I had talked to one of my friends that had done a show. And I guess that just kind of calmed me, down and stuff. And so I said, all right, let's try it out. I'm really glad that I did. But then once you start getting going on the interview process, I don't know, it was like 5 or 6, interviews that you have to go through before they actually like get back to you and say, all right, we're gonna take a shot on you.
Now, were they sending you like challenges, or they just wanted to know your personality?
It's both. The first ones are like, wanting to more know your personality and stuff like that. And then, I had to do a 2-tiered cake and a plated dessert.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, for the challenges. And it was a Zoom call because, it's all during COVID and stuff. So, I'm there in my kitchen showing them my 2-tiered cake. And then they want to see me do the plate up of the dessert and stuff. And, there's like 5 or 6 people like on the computer, and they're like, okay, Sound like looks great, Natalie. All right. Thank you so much for your time. Goodbye.
That's funny. It's funny because they're not able to taste it either, which is like a huge part of the challenge.
Yeah, and they go, they're like, okay, Natalie, go ahead and cut a slice and take a bite. Tell us what you think.
What, you're going to be like, oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is fantastic. It's banana cake. It's my
It's simply
favorite.
terrific.
Like,
What about the cookies?
Yeah. Yeah, really.
And Kellen, what was the audition process like for you?
Similar. They reached out over Instagram, and then after that initial communication, it was application, and then second application that was pretty much the same as the first application, and then Skype interviews. I had cookie homework. I had to make a 2D and a 3D cookie, and then
wow.
just to prove that we could build something, because a lot of the challenges on Christmas Cookie Challenge are construction.
Well, yes, we saw.
And then
Yeah. Choo choo.
yeah, seriously. Something I'd never done before, and I've yet to do. The only time I've ever built anything out of cookies is on the show.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't grow up building gingerbread houses. We did the graham cracker houses. We didn't do gingerbread.
Graham cracker houses?
Yeah, you just use, it's easier. It's like perforated. You just like break it. It's already there. It's so easy.
Yeah.
You don't have to bake anything.
No.
Yeah, so that was the first time I'd ever even considered building a structure out of cookies. And then I have to present that on Skype. This was pre-Zoom. This was 2018. So this was Skype. And it's you put all this time into building these things, and then you're on with the producer for like 3 minutes, and they're like, all right, thanks, bye. It's like, oh, that's it. But then then you like sit around waiting, and you're hoping that they liked what they saw in those 3 minutes, and then they call you back and say, we want you or we don't. And unfortunately for me, they did.
Well, and you were on like in the first, you were on season 2, so they were still feeling what the Christmas Cookie Challenge, was all about. And such a welcome presence. I have to tell you what fans responded to, other than like being inappropriate, like, does he have a boo? A theme which really responded to me as an artist as well was that you were the underdog of the show, of your first Christmas Cookie Challenge. You're self-taught, number one, so you didn't go to like all the school and to learn like the actual technical everything. But not only that, you made it to the final segment, and you had these 2 professional bakers with their in-store, they're professional, and they're literally talking over you as if you're not even there. Not in a mean way, but it just happened to be that way. In fact, during the episode, you even said like, hello, I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah, because they were asking, it was like, Lana's here and Brian's here, and they're just like asking each other, how's it going over there? How's it going? And I'm like, literally between them, it's like they're just not paying attention to me. I'm sure it was like the producers asking them like, hey, don't talk to him. But still, I didn't know that, and I'm just like, I'm here, don't discount me just because I don't have the the classical training that some others have. And honestly, I wasn't even expecting to make round 2, let alone win.
Well, there's a very sincere, the camera really caught your reactions, and I think that's also what built you being a fan favorite, is we saw your natural, like, humble reactions, which was so endearing. But it really meant a lot to me as an artist, and I think it meant a lot to our viewers and your fans. It's like, you just focus on what you're doing. And not to give anything away, because everybody should watch this, there was something that the other professional bakers just had to incorporate into their final creation, which they actually got dinged on because it wasn't good. And you were like, no, I'm just going to focus on what I'm focusing on. You were so focused on what you were doing that it worked out for you. And I think that's a great message for us, just keep on your path. And don't judge yourself next to who's next to you or what's happening or jealousy or whatever.
Yeah, it's so easy to do.
But that must have been terrifying during the competition, especially when they were literally talking over you. What do you think helped you being the underdog and maybe not having the pressure of all of this training, and not to put training down, Natalie, because I know that you went through training, but there's certain benefits I think from both.
Yeah, I mean, so you mentioned before, I was only on season 2, so there really wasn't a whole lot of groundwork for the show yet. Whereas, like, the newer bakers have now 4 seasons to go back and watch and, learn from and, get strategy on how to maybe do certain things. So I didn't really, I watched, of course, season 1, but I didn't have a whole lot to pull from. So I just told myself, like, do what you know how to do. Don't try and do too much. Don't try and do something you've never tried before, because that was the downfall of a few of the bakers on season 1. It's like they just tried to do too many things. So I'm just like, no, just go in and focus on what you do best. The producers and whoever you've talked to up to this point, they like what they've seen. So there's no point in trying to, like, do all these extra things. Just, it may not be the flashiest, but it's going to be what, wins them over, because they already know that you could do it and you can do it. So I just kind of, I just focused on my strengths, and that was kind of, I think, what helped, because I didn't really have to worry too much about anything else.
I love that. And, that's kind of like a message for life too, right? Slow and steady wins the race.
For sure.
How has life changed the most since appearing on the show? And I'm talking about the realities. Not just like the glamour part of it, like, now we're social media stars, but how have you had to adjust from being on the show?
I'm literally drowning in cake. Like, it's a great feeling, but I'm literally drowning in cake. And, it's pretty awesome in the fact that I'm my own boss, so I can take on as many orders as I feel as I'm capable of doing. And, if I don't want to, then I don't have to, and my son is home with me every day. So I feel very, very fortunate in the fact that I'm raising him, I don't have to go do daycare. I'm blessed in that sense that I can just be there with him and teach him, and I'm growing my business. So I feel real good.
This is still a second job for me. I have my day job.
You work with frat houses or something, right?
I did. I just got a new job actually earlier this year. So now I'm at a marketing firm here in Kansas City.
Congratulations.
But thank you. But that's my day job, and then cookies are my secondary job. So after the show initially aired in 2018, business definitely picked up, became more consistent. Prior to that, it was, a few orders a month, and it was all friends and family and like a few word of mouths. But then ever since then, it's been a lot more steady. So it keeps me a lot more busy, which is good. It's a good problem to have. Not overwhelmingly so, not where I'm like doing, 8 hours of work during the day and then coming home and doing 8 hours of work at night. Not that busy, but busy enough to where I'm still, Whaley Sweet is still a thing, and people still ask me to make cookies for, all types of occasions. I just finished out my Christmas cookie orders today.
Congratulations. That must be a sense of relief.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. You always have those few days or even like few weeks in there where it's just like, I don't see the light at the end of the tunnel yet. It's coming. It's there. I just need to get there. But now I'm like, all right, now I'm officially on break. Now I can just kind of relax, and I'm not doing anything until like the first week of January. So I have a few weeks in there to kind of just do whatever and don't have to do cookies. That's a little, it's nice.
That's a good feeling.
But it's funny, in your business, it's like people assume like holidays are seasonal, and then we have a Valentine's Day and all that. But in both of your business, like there's always an occasion. So there's like wedding season we were talking about, now people are scheduling post-COVID. But there's like Valentine's Day, and then there's like weddings and whatever. There's never a downtime for you to take a breath.
No, not quite yet. I think that COVID is kind of like, for right now, it's like, that's the problem with it, for like the wedding industry, you have the couples from 19 and from 20 all now competing with the couples of 21. So for 22 next year, you got 3 sets of couples that are now competition with each other trying to secure their wedding dates.
Well, and you have the wedding date 2/22/22.
Yeah, exactly. So people are like, "Ooh, wedding on a Monday, let's do it." Wedding on a Tuesday, I'm down. Because they just want to secure their date, and I feel for them. I really do.
But how do you recharge creatively? Because when you're working, and when you have a full-time job, and then you're having to create a cookie or a cake, and you're always on call, what re-energizes you creatively? Are you watching movies? Are you binge-watching Netflix? Are you going to the opera? Like, what recharges you artistically that's totally separate from this industry?
Go ahead. You want to start?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, so my boyfriend and I, we're big into movies and TV, so we really kind of immerse ourselves in all the
Did you see
pop
West Side
culture that
Story?
we can. I'm sorry.
Did you see West Side Story?
Yes, we did. Yeah, we saw that a few weeks ago. It was really good.
Yeah, of course it was.
Yeah,
God.
big musical. We just took a trip to New York, so we saw a show on Broadway, before everything started shutting down, unfortunately. But yeah, so any sort of like theater, movies, TV, the award season's coming up, so I'll be watching all the movies and everything. So yeah, that's kind of our like outlet as far as kind of getting more entertainment and creative ideas that way.
In terms of award season, who would have thought 8 years ago Lady Gaga would be fighting with Bella Swan from Twilight for Best Actress?
Yeah.
What is happening? I did get this question for both of you in different ways, but Natalie, you have a husband, you have a kid, and Kellen, you have a boo. How do you maintain a healthy relationship while working on your craft? Because not only do you have the demands of your baking, your decorating, but then you also have the social media demands, and you're in the public eye. It makes you, famous. How do you maintain a healthy relationship through that all?
Date night for us. Yeah, we definitely, and we communicate a lot. So much to the fact where I don't know. Sometimes we get on each other's nerves, of course,
But that's part of a relationship. We're taught like a great relationship means it's all perfect. No, the great relationship is the ups and downs, and it's
Yeah. No. I mean, I really hit the sweepstakes with my husband. Like, he doesn't have to talk to me. He doesn't even have to hear me say anything, and he can just read me like a book, And I think that he does a really, really great job of keeping me in check and, being like, okay, babe, like, what's wrong? Like, what's happening? You know what I mean? He just like really talks to me and stuff. And then we do date night, My parents are very generous with their time, and they love my son to pieces. So they're always, fighting with each other to who can come over, grandma wants to come over, and,
Well,
and so that's very helpful for us.
Kellen.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would say the same. I mean, fortunately, I don't know. I don't feel like that being on the show has really like put me too much in the spotlight as far as that goes. So it really hasn't. And then my Whaleys feet and the cookies is kind of still secondary, so it's not really like overwhelming as far as that goes. I feel like the big struggle would be like, we don't have a ton of space. So when I have a big order or like tons of like all the holiday cookies I just had, it takes over the kitchen, it takes over our dining room. So, and it's just like, all right, I have to try and like keep things orderly in some regard. So I'm not just like taking over literally every space and driving him crazy. Cause it's like, I'm a neat freak, and just like Natalie, I like to clean as I go. And we're both very like particular as far as, where we like things. So, it's just a matter of making sure that I just don't like overflow and overload everything, because, that could get, even for me, it's just like, I can't deal with too much mess, and I don't want to put that on somebody else. So it's just like maintaining and, keeping everything nice and tidy. I feel like that's my thing.
That's very interesting, because I hear the same thing about drag queen couples. We've interviewed a number of Drag Race, and they say, the biggest challenge is, they want to have their drag. They need space for it. It's their job. But at the same time, how much does it encroach in daily life and like a home situation? We never think about that.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. Yeah. For me, cake is everywhere. I mean, like my garage, I've got like, 3 fridge freezer combos.
I saw your garage when I picked up my
you
my
know,
mom's thing,
so
yeah.
it's a lot.
As I said before, the Food Network does such a great job, I think, of capturing your personalities. Do you think the show portrayed your personality correctly? Is there something that you wish fans saw more of?
I feel like for myself, like that was me. Like, you know, I'm very smiley, very happy person. So I feel like, I wasn't portrayed as like a villain or anything like that. So I thought so.
Yeah, same. Like I said before, I just feel like that's just the way I am. What you saw on the show was a very accurate representation of me, you know, good or bad. Yeah, I mean, it's just like I just feel like I'm I'm sarcastic and like sassy in ways, and I feel like that came out a little bit. You know, I had those few like one-liners that I wasn't really like thinking, but they just came out, and that's just how it is.
But I think that's what fans really like attribute themselves. Like, I'll watch every Food Network show. You'll never find me I'm going to be honest, and our listeners know this, in my refrigerator, I have shoes because I don't have enough closet space, and I can't cook worth anything. I can't even make cereal, like, just whatever. But I will watch all of these because we attach ourselves to your personalities, and it's the sassiness. It's the good personality. It's like, we're rooting for you, but we feel like we're family.
Yeah.
You know, and I know most of the people that watch Food Network, and like 10 years ago, if you were to tell me, hey, we're going to have a whole channel that's going to be all cooking shows and competition shows, I'd be like, are you crazy? Who's going to watch that? And look what's happened.
People love it.
Yeah.
People love it. I mean, I'm sure for you too, Kellen, like the outpour of love from like my community. I mean, daily, just in my, you know, my DMs, like, Natalie, like, I've been watching you from Food Network, or, you know, I've just been keeping up with your stuff. Like, we love it, you know, so happy for you. You're doing great, you know, or, you know, I don't know who you are. Like, I'm happy, you know what I mean? Thank you for sending me a message, you know, and that's so nice. I'm sure you get the same, you know, people loving you.
Oh yeah, you know, and I can only imagine, because you know, Christmas Cookie Challenge, you're on one episode a season, so I can only imagine how somebody like you, who's been on a full season of, you know, not 8, 9, I don't even remember how many episodes are on
10.
Spring Baking Champions, but it's like
10.
You're on the whole season, so you know you have a growing fan base. People tune in to watch you and cheer you on every week.
Yeah.
So I can, you know, that's awesome. I can't, honestly, I had thought about like trying out for Holiday Baking Championship. I don't know why I thought that, because cookies are honestly my strong suit, and that's probably the only thing I can confidently do day after day. And I know cakes are a really big component of all of these holiday, Halloween, spring baking championship shows. But you know, I can't even fathom how you guys do that, especially for like a full month.
Yeah, I mean, just looking back at my season versus like the previous season, my season was very cake heavy.
It was.
I think in like previous seasons, maybe they did 1 or 2 cakes. And I think honestly that's why I did very well, just because that's what I do. I'm a cake decorator, you know, and so when I would go into it and they're like, okay, we're gonna do cake today, I'm like, hell yeah, we're gonna do cake today. Like, this is great.
Why don't I tell you, like the cookie challenge, it went from decorating cookies to like you said, Kellen, it's way beyond. It's pretty much, now you have to know how to structure, you know, things. Now you have to do 3D. Now you have to do isomalt. Now you have to do all this stuff. It's like, I thought it was a cookie challenge, and it is so not.
Seriously, there's so many different components now that they add to these things that
it's
it kind of takes it out of it, but it's also testing your skills. So just trying to advance.
All right, let's talk about some of the realities of filming, and these are all fan questions. Both challenges in one day.
For the first like 4 episodes, it was 2 days, something like that, because there were so many of us.
So they do the preheat, and then...
So it was preheat one day, and then main heat the next day, because you have all the interviews that you have to get through. So I think once we hit like episode 5 or 6, something like that, I can't remember, then it was both in the day.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Kellen, was it the same day filming?
First Christmas Cookie Challenge, it was challenge one and then part one of the second challenge. The second challenge was split over 2 days. And then the most recent one was both in the same day.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine that kind of pressure. And, some people crack under that pressure. It's like, I gave my all, and
Right.
it's too much.
Yeah.
How much time do you get to spend with any of the hosts and or judges? Is it just on set, or are they meeting you before, after?
Just on set, just when we're being judged.
Yeah.
Who are you most excited to meet on set?
Duff, yeah. I really wanted to meet Lorraine, just because I love her. I think I love that like sassiness of her. But yeah, I definitely really, really wanted to meet Duff.
And I was really excited to meet Ree. I remember my first time, Artie Sequeira was one of our judges, and I remember watching her on Food Network Star, so I was really excited to meet her. And then when she had the really nice comments about my chocolate cookie, that was like amazing.
Yeah.
But then the second time, when Ree and Eddie were back with the returning champions, it was cool to just see them again, because then they would come around and like just kind of shoot the shit with us.
A few messages I got. Kellen, this is so inappropriate, and I know Food Network makes you sign certain things you don't have to. Why are Eddie's pants so goddamn tight? I mean, we know he's a man. Like, he doesn't have to show us. Like, we know it. Was it distracting? I mean,
I mean, it's not just his pants. Everything. He just has the tightest wardrobe.
I know, but the pants, it's like, oh, okay, well, that's there.
Definitely
Yeah.
has that
Was it
European
distracting?
cut.
Now, how much
No,
time?
again.
I would be
I would just
distracted.
say,
I'd be like. Do you spend a lot of time with the other bakers, or is it just that you're thrown into the room, or are you? And I know that you had more of an experience after hours. Was it that you were like hanging out with them? Do you get to see each other's creations or anything?
I mean, definitely you're together a lot, because like, you're called in the morning, you guys have breakfast together if you want, you have breakfast.
There has to be some personality issues.
I'm not going to say that.
I mean, the show is so positive.
Yeah.
We don't get into that, but there has to be that.
Yeah, definitely. You figure out who you just figure out who you are, basically, like, or who everybody else is. You know what I mean? We spend a lot of time together, because it's a lot of waiting around for them to be ready on set, and then, okay, we're not ready yet. And, so you guys, we're all just kind of hanging out and stuff like that. And then, a lot of us would go to dinner, afterwards.
I'm pouring more vodka because, like, I need this tea, like, yesterday.
I mean, and then definitely you create some really good friendships with people. I mean, and so, yeah, for us, yeah, we would bounce ideas, like, off of each other, because you don't know what's coming, but kind of what's coming, just from, like, the previous seasons and stuff. So I found that some certain bakers would, they have no problem with talking to you because they're very confident in what they're already going to do. So you would just bounce each other, ideas. And then some bakers are very tight-lipped and like, you're like, I'm not really going to tell you what I've got up my sleeve and such.
Well, from the audience point of view, it's such a positive experience, but at the end of the day, it is a competition.
Correct, yeah.
But it's really funny, and Kellen, you kind of coming in as the underdog, it's kind of funny to see that totally flipped on end, where you have somebody that comes in so confident and so like, this is what I'm doing, and I'm going to make 8 cookies and not 6, and then they fuck it up, and it's like, and then the audience doesn't even like you, because you're like, wait, it's like, calm down, just enjoy being on the show.
Yep, yeah. No, I mean, for myself, I felt like I didn't want to be that person at all. I just wanted to be I'm just a nice, happy person, So I find when you get overly cocky is when you end up tripping over your feet.
And that's in life, by the way.
Yeah.
That's with anything. Kellen, and you having come back as an all-star, did you know how to deal with the other bakers before? Did you get to know who was going to be on it, to research them, or how did that play?
So knowing that it was going to be all returning winners, we only had a small pool to choose from who would be coming back. So I didn't know ahead of time who was coming back, but I knew who it could be. So, watching all the episodes again and kind of just familiarizing yourselves with the former winners, And then, of course, that first day, you're like, oh, okay, these are the people I'm going against. This is going to be really hard. Because at the first time, you don't know anybody from anybody. And this time, you know who these people are. You've watched them compete. You've followed them on Instagram. You know what they could do. So, it does add that bit of, high stakes of like, oh no, I know I'm competing against Lucy, who can do like the most amazing watercolors on cookies, or I'm competing against Ashley, who has these amazing designs, who are like super cute and like boho. So, but then at the same time, we're all competing under the same set of circumstances in the kitchen. The time constraints is like the great equalizer. So what you can do outside really doesn't matter at that point, because we're all, in the same space, working under the same time constraints and under the same elements. So it's stressful, but at the same time, it's not. It kind of like goes out the window really quickly.
What I've always wanted to know as a viewer is, going in, are you able to look up some of your recipes? Because they're like, here's the challenge, and then you guys come up with the most ridiculous combinations that I would like cardamom with honey from a bear that was called. I mean, it's so precise recipes that you have. Are you given opportunity to like look at your library or Google something, or?
I mean, I just looked at the previous seasons, and I was just.
But it's down to a science to me. Like, if you ask me to do, I'd be like, I don't know. I just like. But you're never able to Google or bring cards or something.
I mean, Offset, you have your smartphone, you know what I mean? So Offset, you can, and you can memorize as much as you possibly can, so yeah, I mean, just being able to, I guess what is helpful is having interchangeable, recipes, things that you feel like you could swap out or so, ingredient for ingredient and stuff. But, that's what I did for all the seasons before. I figured out, okay, like they've done a donut challenge in each one, like that's probably going to be in my season too, and so that's what I did. I just sat there and I wrote down notes, like what was in the previous seasons.
Interesting. And Kellen, how about you, like with your cookie recipes, especially coming back, where you were like, here's my arsenal?
I mean, I have my basic recipes memorized just because I do them so often. So like Natalie said, it's just something that I can easily swap out, like one thing for another, or like add a little bit of extra something to amp up a flavor here, or just really highlight this thing here. Also, when it comes to cookies, I mean, I guess cakes too, it's honestly anything. You can just add flavoring to like frostings and icing. That really kind of complement or enhance the flavor of like the underlying thing, like the cookie. So, it's really kind of like mixing and matching and figuring out what works best together, in addition to like having some random ingredient thrown at you because it's a twist that you have to figure out how to incorporate that. So, there is that little element of surprise that we don't always expect, but you kind of have to make it work however you can. So it is nice to have those kind of like base recipes that are can kind of be, it's like a chameleon recipe. You can kind of change it to be what it needs to be to kind of fit the situation.
Yep.
This question is from me. I've never understood why the bakers don't make an extra something so they can taste it and know exactly what's happening. If you're going to make the mix, like just make an extra. It doesn't have to be pretty, but like put in, because then they're surprised when some of the judging comes out. They're like, oh, I didn't know you couldn't taste it. I was like, just make another one. Or when it's a structure that could break, and we know, Kellen, you had some breakage. Like, just wouldn't you know just to make another one? Or is it really that like so quick that you're just like, let's just get this done?
So they didn't show it, but I made an extra of everything. Like for my bunny challenge,
that
like
just makes sense
I had
to
an
me.
extra little little loaf on the side because I wanted to try it.
Yeah.
For like my sticky toffee pudding, which they didn't like, but I made my own little sticky toffee, and the producer came over and he's like, sweetheart, did you make your own little sticky toffee pudding over here? And I was like, well, yeah.
Yeah, I'm smart.
I'm hungry. Like, I wanted one. And he's like, oh, okay. So I thought, like, those little funny things, I thought were going to make it, like, into the show, But no, I ate, like, every episode.
Well, and you've talked about you film hours and hours, and then we get to see, like, a few minutes, if.
Yeah, exactly.
If anything.
Yeah.
Kellen, why didn't you make another one of those pieces that could have broken? Because I literally screamed at the screen. I was like, ah, no.
That particular piece that broke, that was a huge structure, and that would take like a whole nother like recipe of dough to make. I was like, no, I feel confident that I could do this in one. Of course, it did not. But I don't know, just honestly thinking back, it's like, no, in the moment, it's like, oh, the challenge is make 6 cookies. I'm going to make 6 cookies. I'm not, I don't think about it. I guess I'm like, no, I don't want to have to do the extra work, even though it's not really, I'm just like throw the scraps of dough on there and like, just as like a taste tester. But I guess that could come in handy later in case I need to make something else that breaks. So,
well, we know that they love you. They'll bring you back. And Natalie, we're going to start a campaign. You have to come back on Food Network.
I'd love to. I'm ready.
Girl, I'm ready for you to come back. Now you got some sass to you. You're like, yeah, we're not playing no more. So, and I've heard, and maybe you guys can talk about this, that conditions change in the studio in terms of, because the lights, studio lights are so hot, all the cameras, all the people, it changes the humidity, it changes the actual calibration of the ovens, and it's a surprise. And this is why some things when you come out like, oh, they're overcooked or they're undercooked and you're like on a time. How much of that is a total surprise to you by being in this weird kitchen?
Well, so like, I believe it was like the second episode, the leprechaun episode. So, you know, we're in this huge tent, and, you know, it's got AC and stuff. So, but I think like one of the entire half of the whole, whatever, there's like 2 major AC units. One of them just busted.
But the tent, the vinyl refracts heat differently.
Oh my God, yes. I mean, like literally, like I was, so anyways, the one of the AC goes out, and I mean, you can drastically feel how hot it got in that kitchen. All of us were sweating. I mean, my gum paste little things were like completely like melting. And when I finally got up to judging, which was like 4 hours later.
See, people don't realize like what that space is, because we see it boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And it literally, like, your product has to sit there.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, they do have fridge and stuff like that, but yeah, I mean, it got up there and I like got up to the thing and I was like, oh my God. I was like, I didn't do that. That's not what it looked like. Like, you know, and so, I mean, they told the judges, you know, that one of the things went out and stuff like that. But yeah, everybody was just like dripping in sweat, and it's just unfortunate. You know, you're just hoping that somebody else did worse than you know?
And how much are you seeing of your competitors?
What's that?
Like, are you seeing their final product and how they present it?
Honestly, not enough. Yes, kind of. You got like a real quick run around to go look at everybody's things, but because of COVID, like honestly, they were like, as soon as the camera stopped, they're like, mask up, you know, everybody out. Like, so they gave you like us 1 minute, like to run to everybody's station just to look, you know, really quick, like what did they do, you know, and yeah, I wish we had more time, you know, because I felt that would give you more of an edge against your people, you know, like what can they do, you know, like I'm gonna try that next time or whatever it is, like. Yeah. We
didn't even get time to run around and see everyone's stuff this last time. It was like once we're done, it's like we, you know, get whisked backstage and you know, get quick touch-ups before we come back in for judging. And fortunately, they would walk around and show us after they were judged, but that was only after mine got judged and they like took it away. And then people were like, well, we want to see. And then after that, they started walking around and showing everyone. But yeah, we didn't even get to do that. So.
No, it's funny that how you said about like looking up your competitors on like Instagram and stuff. Like the very first day when we finally got to do like a Zoom meeting there at the hotel, like with everybody like on the camera and stuff like that. Like we're all in our own rooms and stuff. I was like sitting there writing down everybody's name. Cause I went afterwards and I was like, I'm looking them up. What do they got? How many followers do they got? What kind of stuff do they got? Yeah, because I wanted to know like, shit, who's my competition here? Like, you know, like I think I kind of psyched myself out. Like I called my husband and I was like, oh man, baby, like some of these people, they got some real followers, like, you know.
Yeah, but that's what we were talking about with Kellen, you know, kind of being the underdog. And I don't mean that in a negative term, because spoiler alert, you know, you won. And I just love that energy. It's like, focus on what you're doing and on your skill and believe in what you're doing, and nothing else matters.
Right.
You win or you don't, but you're still going to make an impression. We got this question many different ways. Did you disagree with your judges' comments?
No. I mean, I won the first time, so no. I don't know. A lot of it comes, I mean, I feel like taste is so subjective, so
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say one way or the other that, oh, you tasted it wrong. So, I feel like a lot of cooking shows are that way. Like, it might look amazing, but if it tastes bad, but then again, who's to say it tastes bad? Maybe one person, I mean, especially when the judges disagree on something, like Nancy and Duff all the time disagree on everything. But I've seen enough of those shows to know how that works. But at the same time, it's like, who's to say who's right and who's wrong? Because everyone, some favor one flavor over another. So if you use one judge's favorite ingredient and another one's least favorite, how's that going to work? Because it's all subjective.
From watching, I love Duff's critiques because he doesn't like flower it, and he just says it how it is. I would rather hang out with Nancy all day, every day, but I don't find her critiques very constructive, as in terms of like, okay, how can I build on this for next time, or how do I grow from this critique? She's just kind of flighty in my term, and so that must be frustrating from the judge point of view. And then also, when you experience this, not having your whole row of stuff that you've done, like every week you could be in the chopping block, but you're like, did you not love what I did all this time?
Yeah.
But it must be a little frustrating dealing with the judges, especially because it's for reality TV. They have to do their funny sound bites for the judging, which we see probably 30, 60 seconds for each of you.
Yeah.
When there's how much time is actually judging you?
We got, I think, like 15 minutes of judging.
Yeah.
That's
if
a
not,
lot.
if not a little more. But yeah, I mean, they go through and they critique every little piece. And like Lee has her sayings, and then Eddie has his, and then they judge about design, and then they actually taste it, and then they have some feedback about that too. So yeah, it takes a bit of time, but yeah, it is drastically condensed down.
Yeah.
For what you see on TV.
Oh yeah. Same thing. Yeah, we were in there for 15, 20 minutes, and they're telling you all these things, and sometimes then you watch it and you're like, damn, like they didn't even put in like the good stuff that they said or whatever, like, I mean, like really nice comments, that I would receive back, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be a superstar after that one. And then they don't put it in, and I'm like, damn it.
You guys, I have 2 more pages of questions from your
sorry.
fans. So we're going to do this rapid fire because we have to take a break, and then we're going to do baking tips.
Okay.
Okay, but here's this. If you were to create a challenge for the show that you were on, what challenge would you create?
Natalie, you go first.
I mean, it would be cake based, like I want to see like some really cool, like, I don't know, wafer paper like techniques, or I don't know, isomalt techniques, and some painted florals. I don't know, it would definitely be cake based.
Here's the thing, everybody agrees that isomalt tastes like shit.
Sure.
So why has nobody created an alternative to isomalt?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, gum paste fondant tastes terrible as well, but it's used as a medium because you can make it look great. You know what I mean? Like, you can really do. And like I tell my guests, like, the fondant is not to be eaten. Like, it's for show. You know what I'm saying? Like, peel that shit away and eat the cake underneath. Like,
but I do have to say, the cake that I got from you, it was all, it was
all
complete.
butter.
Kellen.
I would do a Krampus challenge.
Oh, that's so great.
Add some like spooky Christmas.
Oh.
They're running out of challenges on the Christmas cookie challenge. I don't
Believe
know how
me,
they're gonna
I know.
keep this going for much longer.
I've been watching. I'm like, do this challenge. Do a drag race challenge. Let's do some crossover with like Survivor cast members and like all that.
Oh,
but
yeah.
there needs to be a drag. And Kellen, your drag race puzzle cookie, ridiculous.
Oh my God.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that one got a lot of track. That was a good one. That was fun.
Yeah,
that was a fun one to do.
I think we actually have a picture. It's stunning. Look at that puzzle
Yeah.
cookie. Talk about
There
that.
was a while where I was doing like
Dang.
consistently every season of Drag Race, I would try and do a set of cookies, and those are fun because it's like every queen has a different look.
Yeah.
So it's fun, but it's also a little difficult. 'Cause it's like I had to do so many different designs. So
Very cool.
Okay, another question. What was life like right after coming from filming? Because you know it's going to be premiered months later, so you feel like a star, and I don't mean that in a negative way, not like a diva way, but like you did this. What was life like just having to wait for that?
Oh,
Like
that
when you
was
came home to your family, friends, your partners, and you're like, no, I'm a star. Like the first couple of days from coming home just to relax, what were those like?
Well, for myself, it was just my husband was very happy to give the baby back to me, so it was just all baby.
But you're
life.
like, can I take a nap?
Oh no, no! There's no naps to be had. Like, no.
This is why I don't have kids.
No. How about you?
no, it was fun. I mean, like I wasn't really it wasn't a whole lot different, honestly. I mean, like Taylor was happy for me to be back. I had like these big like welcome back, congratulations, great job signs hung up in our
that's
house.
so cute.
But you know, the ever since the first time, whenever I'm like on a vacation or something, people are like, "Oh, what are you doing? Where are you going? What are you really doing? Are you filming another show?" So the first time was a lot easier.
That's
I didn't have to
funny.
like keep a secret or anything. But ever since then, people are like, for some reason they like hone in on when I'm not around for too long, because then they get suspicious.
But that's it. Like when we get into this world, it is that. It's like, bitch, I took a nap. Like, calm down. What has been your biggest baking and decorating challenge in real life, aside from the show?
Just I guess just doing multiple tiered cakes. Like 3 tier is great, 4 tier is beautiful, like 5 tier is dangerous. Like,
Are people actually eating a 5-tier cake though?
oh yeah,
Oh, they are?
I mean, people have 200 plus weddings and stuff like that, especially with COVID now. I mean, next year is just ridiculous. Like, people want to party and they want everybody to be there with them.
I would just say like immediately after any of the shows I've been on, there's like an influx of orders, especially around the holidays. So it's like multiple dozens all at once to try and
Oh my gosh.
shell out. So
Jeez.
yeah, it hasn't been like one big order. It's just like a lot of small orders
And they're
that
like-
kind of add up.
You can't deliver it in 3 days? What's wrong? Right? It's like, oh.
I know people don't really understand that these things don't happen overnight.
All right, we are going to take a quick break and talk about cookie tips that you can have at home. But first, hot topic real fast. Should a baker have to make a gay wedding cake?
I think love is love. Like,
Yeah.
But as a business owner, like Kellen, would you make a cake for Mitch McConnell?
No, I'm not good at cakes.
Wow, that was such a good answer. Did you hear what he did? Would you
But
do
also no.
Would you do cookies for Marjorie Green?
No.
So then can a baker say, I'm not going to make a gay cake?
No.
I
I know.
mean, I think that there's a lot of clever ways to be able to say no without saying no. You know what I mean?
I'm
Like,
overworked.
I'm fully booked. Like, I'm out of town. Like, I'm sure that there's just 1 in a million ways to say no instead of just coming out flat and saying no. You know what I mean?
You mean like I just did?
I mean, I personally don't have a problem with it. You know, I don't think that. I mean, I guess it's just like it's on you. You know what I mean?
It's a really interesting topic when we're talking about like being a business owner
Yeah.
and, you know, like what you want to do or not.
Yeah.
But I think it's a conversation we should still have
Mm-hmm.
over and over.
Yeah.
You know, it's our art.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's Christmas cooking and baking tips, and we're going to get to the tips rather than just the cheese make, because that's all we've been doing, and I love it. All right, when we come back. And we're back. Okay, Kellen, what are some of the biggest mistakes people make when decorating Christmas cookies? Whether it's for their family, whether it's for a party, or...
I mean, as far as decorating goes, I don't know if there's necessarily a mistake you can make when you're decorating with like friends and family. As long as you're having fun doing it, I feel like there aren't any mistakes to be made. I can give you a few mistakes people can make when they're baking cookies.
Yeah, okay. I would love that.
Yeah. I mean, you have to have a good base to decorate in the first place. So I would say for me, it took a while to learn this one, but when I'm baking cookies and when I'm making the dough, I would chill twice. That is my like key takeaway. I always make my dough and then chill it, and then I roll out the shape, and then I chill it again before I bake it, because that really helps it hold its shape. If you put it right in the oven while you're rolling out the dough and you're like putting them on a tray and they're sitting out and the dough is getting warm while you're cutting out all the other shapes, once you put it in the oven, it might not hold its shape as well as it would if it was like chilled one more time. So, and you don't want it to spread. You want it to hold its shape. You don't want a portly gingerbread man if he's supposed to be svelte and
Hello, we're into body positivity, so no. No, but that's interesting because all the recipes, like if we go even on foodnetwork.com, it's like here's how you do, and you roll it out and you put it in the oven, blah blah blah. And so that's a great tip.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I bake my cookies from frozen, like just so they will keep that shape and the butter won't leach, too quickly.
And I thought your puzzle challenge was so enchanting.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, we just got Olive last year, so I just wanted to incorporate her somehow in my design, and I felt like that was the best way to do it. Yeah.
Natalie, what are some of the biggest mistakes people make when they're like, I'm going to decorate a cake?
Just probably not having like a good basically organization to it,
You're looking at me. I'm like, I have half the ingredients. I'll still do it. It's fine.
I mean, I guess going too quickly, basically.
Okay.
You want a really nice wedding cake, you need a good, in a pinch, you need a good 3 days, For myself, I bake off on one day, completely chill, put it in the fridge overnight. The next day, I'll do the filling and do the first, outside layer of frosting. And then on the third day is when I'm starting the actual decorating work of it, so that cake has had plenty of time to be completely chilled inside and out. Because the more time you have it cold, the longer you can be there and decorating and not have any error.
I also got this question. What are the fancy kitchen gadgets that you actually do need? Not just like, oh, it'd be nice. But if you're making a cookie or making a cake that you're like, okay, if you're going to get into this, you need this.
I mean, for myself, a KitchenAid. A good mixer, and I've got a fondant sheeter, and then I've got a big.
What's a fondant sheeter? Is it where you roll it through the thing?
Yeah,
yeah. I always see that and it's so clean and cool. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I've got the pasta attachment that goes on my KitchenAid, so I use that for my fondant for small decorative things. But then when I'm actually covering a full tier, I'll use the big fondant machine that I have. Man, it's just time is money, right? If I can get your cake done in an hour versus 4 hours, bam, I just made quadruple my money essentially, So, yeah.
I actually used the fondant sheeter on my second episode of Christmas Cookie Challenge to roll out my dough a lot faster.
Yep.
So I was like, oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna save some time this time, be more efficient, and it worked. I mean, it helped me out a lot to get that rolled out a lot faster.
Yeah, no, I did the same thing. Yeah, I just put it between two pieces of parchment and throw it through there, and I'm like, hell yeah, man! This is great.
Yep. But Kellen, with the outline and the flooding, what are some of the essentials that you definitely need?
I have tipless piping bags. I used to use the little metal piping tips, but then I realized after a while that it takes a lot more time if I'm not using the right consistency of icing, or if I'm using the wrong size nozzle. I just feel like it's a lot more efficient to just do the tipless piping bag. It's just a lot easier to clean up at the end of the day. And then I have a little scribe tool. It's a really thin. It's a really tiny needle, and it really helps move around the icing when I'm decorating to make it all smooth and even across the cookie. And I don't think I could really. I mean, it's essentially like a metal toothpick. But it really is just super helpful. It's like an extension of my hand when I'm decorating, because I don't not ever have one with me. But it has come in handy every single time I decorate. And I would recommend nobody not have one if you're going to be doing that.
What is a go-to recipe that even somebody that can't bake, can't decorate, that we should do that would impress somebody?
Probably creme brulee.
Creme brulee? So to me, that seems very fancy. I'm like, what?
I mean, creme brulee is, egg yolks, cream, and sugar, and vanilla bean. Like, it's 4 ingredients, man. Like, I feel like it's pretty easy to do, and then you just bake it low and slow, and
But you have to do like the
yeah, but
crispy-
that's the fun, like, easy part. Just throw
Oh,
some
that's the impressive part?
Exactly.
I think I
It
can
is,
get
yeah.
laid by making creme brulee, by the way.
I'm telling you, people think like, oh,
Mhm.
creme brulee, but
Yeah.
it's pretty.
That's
easy.
good
And you
to
get to
know.
play with fire.
Yeah.
Girl, I got enough fire with my jazz hands. Kellen, let's say I was going to have a date and I was going to make a cookie recipe as like part of the date. Like, what's the easiest, like, kind of sexiest, most fun thing that I could do?
I mean, I always say the sign of a good baker is knowing how to make a really good chocolate chip cookie. I mean, I feel like it's very basic to say that, but
No,
at the same
but
time,
to have the
it's
perfect
very-
chocolate will change your life.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And I feel like it's not a difficult recipe. It's something that everyone has their own, and it's really hard to mess it up. So if you do it well,
It's hard to mess
it's
up, but when
really
you have
impressive.
a really good chocolate chip cookie, like,
Yeah.
I'm a
Fresh out
cookie
the
monster.
oven. Yep.
Which is funny because on Food Network, you don't just see a straight chocolate chip cookie because it has to be fancy. But I'm like, when you taste a good chocolate chip cookie, like, and okay, so this is a little sassy question that we got. What are some trends in the industry, decorating or baking, that are overrated and you're just like, okay, it's here for now?
Oh, I have one.
Yes.
So last year, instead of doing cookies, people were really into those hot cocoa bombs. I don't know if you saw them. They're
Oh,
like a chocolate sphere with hot
Yeah.
chocolate mixed inside
yeah.
and sprinkles and marshmallows. I did so many of those last year, and I swore up and down I was never doing them again. And I'm not. That was a 2020 thing. Along with let's just like get rid of 2020 and take those with us.
I feel
Never
it's like
again.
it's the same woman that was like, I need pumpkin spice on November 1st. And I'm going to yoga and I need my chocolate sphere. That's what I felt with that. But it probably tastes really good though too. Yeah.
It's just hot chocolate in a more like novelty way. I mean,
It's
it's just
the
a more fun
gram,
and difficult
though.
way to drink hot chocolate.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's something to do with your kids. It's interactive. Like, I mean,
It is. You're right.
I've got a lot of baker friends that do those, and I personally like it. I think it's
I
cute.
mean, more power to people who can work with chocolate. Chocolate is messy, and
It's really difficult.
Maybe I'm
Yeah.
just not made to work with chocolate.
yeah,
I can't do
it.
Every time I see somebody on Food Network doing the chocolate sphere, I'm like, girl, are you sure?
Girl, you
'Cause it never works out. It never works out. But like, what's like an overrated thing with baking? I thought like I loved the Geo like rock
Oh, yeah.
3D. I thought that was cool, as it being like not on every goddamn cake.
I mean, I would just say for myself, I get a lot of orders that want rustic cake. They just want the rustic.
What does that mean?
Like where it's like semi-naked, where you can see the cake through the frosting. You know what I mean?
That's so interesting because that's the judges on Food Network don't like that.
I mean, so I always try and steer my brides to do something that's more memorable. You paid all this money for this big, your big day, and then your cake is supposed to be that showpiece. I'm supposed to be the showpiece, the centerpiece. That's what I'm bringing to the party. So that's what I want to shine bright like a diamond, right? So I always try to steer
Did
my
you just give us a Rihanna? You should just give us a Rihanna.
That's why I try and steer my brides to like, rustic is nice.
I
but
need
you
you
know
and
what's
Kellen to
better?
host your own show. And you can wear tight pants and you could be in a caftan. It's fine.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what I try and do. Steer away from the rustic.
Very interesting. Okay, how long can you freeze a cake for?
Like unfilled, like just a regular.
Like
cake
if I were to buy a cake and then I would freeze it.
Oh, if you're, I mean, a year. Like honestly,
Is that true though? And it tastes.
I mean, it's not gonna go bad. Like I mean, unless you had like fresh fruit in there. I mean, it's not gonna taste great. Like, but if it's just like whipped cream, like on the inside, like, it'll be all right.
Kellen, can you freeze cookies?
You can freeze cookies. You have to like wrap them really well and put them in a Tupperware or something, and then bring it to room temperature inside that container fully before you open it, because you don't want the condensation to affect the icing, and then it could mess with the design and stuff. So you have to make sure that it's fully thawed before you release it.
Wow, that was very technical. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Hello, he's been on Food Network 3 times in the last couple of years.
Let me teach you something.
All right. This question, again, from one of your fans. If you were to make something, one of your recipes that you were going to make just for you to eat and enjoy, which recipe would it be?
Sticky toffee pudding. I love sticky toffee pudding.
I hate toffee because it's so much work.
Oh, but it's so good. It's worth it.
You just put it in a pot and let it melt. Like, I don't know.
All right, so that would be a recipe that you would make for yourself.
Oh, yeah. That or tres leches.
Mm.
Yeah.
How often do you bake just for yourself, or do you ever?
Not really. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not really. Like, I have so much scrap of cake, that I get my fill of it.
Kellen?
I would probably make the Mexican hot chocolate cookies with the marshmallow.
Ooh,
those are really good.
That sounds
They have a
good.
little
It was
spice.
everybody loved it, and even when I was like, let's see this white boy do this Mexican hot chocolate, and you obviously brought it because
half
it was
white, half Mexican. It's in there. It's in there.
which half?
Which half?
The top or the bottom?
Oh, my.
Anyway, that's inappropriate. The most embarrassing junk food or food that's not considered Food Network worthy that you just love that you would be horrified for us to know.
Spam? I don't know.
Please tell me that's not true.
I was like, what?
What do you put it in?
I make spam musubis.
What the hell is that?
What?
You just made that up.
You lie.
What is a span wasubi?
Musubis, it looks like it looks
God.
like the big like sushi, but it's like spam on top of rice with like the seaweed.
Kellen, have you heard about
Google it. Oh my gosh.
No, I've never heard of it.
No, she's
My God.
lying. She
If
made
Food
that
Network
up.
was gonna call, they were just like, well, how funny would that be though?
They're
Here's
like,
a challenge.
"Oh,
You'd be like,
no."
I'm bringing spam.
Yeah.
Great. You see, you asked me a question, I gave you the answer, then you laughed at
No,
me.
I actually love it. To know that a Mexican actually eats spam, I don't know if that's a hate crime.
Well,
maybe.
not on the regular.
Kellen, what's a food that we'd just be like, oh my God?
I don't know. I don't feel like there's anything that's like I would be embarrassed to say that I eat or that I
Well, you're like a
enjoy.
healthy gay man, so you're like very regimented.
Not totally.
Okay,
I mean,
so
like
what's your
Doritos,
like
maybe? I don't know.
Doritos?
But that's not embarrassing. I love Doritos. I mean, like,
I said spam. You need to come up with something better.
My God. I can't wait for your joint show, by the way. The Junk Food of America, which would be great, by the way. Okay, final question. What is your New Year's resolution?
Jeez.
And it doesn't have to be monumental, but like for yourself, not for your family, not for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Probably, honestly, like giving up tortillas and bread.
Wait, that's not a positive thing.
I mean, it will be positive when I come rocking this summer body. I'll be like, hell yeah, that turned out real positive.
You know, we've all been through COVID, and I have to tell you, like, my inclination, because I gained a few pounds, was like, for New Year's, like, do this, whatever. It's like being the underdog, running your business from your home. You do what makes you feel good, and I'm telling you, that's when you're most beautiful.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Of course, I'm in West Hollywood. Let me tell you how popular that opinion is. Yay!
Yeah, Yeah, no, you're definitely not wrong. I just would like my jeans to fit a little better.
Ugh.
Girl, they make
Preach.
jeans in every sizes. Anyway. Kellen, what's your New Year's resolution?
I did a lot of like at home cooking classes during quarantine last year. So I would like to maybe do more of that and just kind of like learn more like culinary skills. There's certain like baking techniques and recipes that I'd like to try that I just haven't really given enough time to do. I also have tons of cookbooks that I've told myself this year I would utilize more, and I did for the first like 2 months. And then I stopped, as all good resolutions do. So maybe pick that up again.
Well, and to our audience, Kellen learned his skill from YouTube. So if you're at home, if you're alone this holiday season and you want to, start doing something, look at YouTube instructions and start building your skill.
Oh yeah, you can teach
YouTube University.
Yeah, I bought Ina Garten's last cookbook because it was supposed to be so like down to earth.
Oh.
Yeah. Not so down to earth.
Oh no.
No.
It's fine, but it's like, oh, you want me to go to the store? What? It's like the hair of a leprechaun from spring 2016.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
What's more down to earth than going to the grocery store?
Excuse me, I haven't been. Have you seen my refrigerator? It's shoes.
It's shoes.
You guys, I love hanging out and talking with you tonight because we feel so connected with both of you. Watching the show and having you put your life out there for us, and your skill and your talent. It's very, very naked. So I applaud you both so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And for the joy that you bring into households. Like I'm very busy, my mom is very busy, but what we connect is the Food Network shows where we'll even text each other like, did you see what happened? Whatever. And that's what you bring to us. So I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. That was really nice.
Happy holidays to everybody. Natalie, tell everybody where you want them to find you and follow you.
Oh, please follow me Instagram, sweet as love OC.
Yes, girl. And be as sweet as she if you're in OC. No more Trump. Kellen.
Yes. You can follow me at Whaley_sweet on Instagram.
And I love it. And I love watching both your Instagrams. I'm like, oh, good, I need to order that next time.
Are you shipping your cookies? Do you ship your cookies?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't want it to break in the mail because it's, you don't know how people are going to handle things.
Yeah.
As soon as it's out of my hands, it's out of my hands.
Yeah.
But I wish I could hand deliver everything, but unfortunately, that's just not how it works.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Well, this is a challenge. Remember when you brought the cake? It had like a mini champagne bottle, and I was like,
Oh,
I need the champagne.
yeah. No, people ask me to ship my cakes all the time, and I'm like,
How would you even do that? I don't know.
I don't know.
There's a certain integrity that you want for your product.
Yeah, like Momofuku, like her milk bar, she like wraps the entire thing up in like saran wrap and then puts it in like a, like the styrofoam cooler and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think I want to do that.
Thank you both for being so honest with your journey and inspiring us. And I'm going to watch. You have to come back. And of course, we're going to see you back. They'll be like, oh, because you're the favorite. And that's all, folks. It's a grab bag of fun every week here on The Rocks. A big thank you to our fabulous guest, my engineer, Robert Hensley. Watch his show, FaceTime, by the way. He's a professional face makeup person. Our social media clip editor, Alexis Mendez. Please like, share, subscribe so we can continue bringing this show for you for free. We are taking New Year's Eve off, but if you're in Palm Springs, I'm hosting at Roost Lounge. When we come back, we have one of the co-stars from the new Dexter, Katie Sullivan, who's also a Paralympic U.S. title holder. How does that happen? Anyway, until next time, stay happy, stay healthy, stay sexy, and most of all, stay tipsy. We'll see you next Tuesday. This has been another episode of On the Rocks. Tweet me and slide into my DMs on Twitter and Instagram at On the Rocks On Air. Find everything On the Rocks for free at OnTheRocksRadioshow.com. Subscribe, like, review, and share. Until next week, stay fabulous.